Magandang hapon po. Thank you very, very much. Mr. Ryan Enriquez, former chairman and CEO at National Youth Commission, Mr. Ray Martin L. Del Rosario, IPDCI chairman, Mr. Jay Adlawan, moderator, JJC national president, attorney Darlon Sevnio, Mr. J. M. Bernabe Yap III, president, JCI Mandaue. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends of democracy and peace, thank you for having me here this afternoon. I really like to thank the organizers for letting me spend some time with you. And what I thought that I will do this afternoon is that I will introduce to you in a snapshot in some 20 minutes, not more, the Finland's national action plan on youth, peace and security for the years 2021 to 2024. The plan was published in August 2021. And as we are talking about democracy and peace, I thought that this national plan that has been worked on in the Philippines as well, based on the Security Council Resolution 2250, might be something of interest to all of us and very important and timely. Now, dear friends, globally, 6 million young people, a quarter of the world's youth, live in fragile countries or countries that are affected by or recovering from conflict. Despite their activeness, young people are often excluded from official decision-making and peace processes. As you know, and as I already referred to, in December 2015, the United Nations Security Council adopted its first resolution on youth, peace and security, Resolution 2250. It recognizes the positive and active role of young people in peace and security. This resolution 2250 of the Security Council calls member states to take into account the needs and perspectives of young people and to involve them in all stages of peace processes. Many young people feel that their work is not taken seriously. Young people often lack confidence in both governments and structures. Young people's participation at the grassroots level is active and innovative. Its impact on conflict prevention and peace building should be utilized more effectively. As a pioneer in the theme of youth, peace and security, Finland has the opportunity to set an example in the implementation of this resolution. Finland is strongly committed to promoting the objectives of the resolution, and Finland was the first country to announce the preparation of a national action plan. Cooperation in the 2250 network of Finnish youth actors was at the center of the preparation of this action plan to ensure its ownership by young people. And although Finland is not a country in conflict, it is also necessary to work in Finland to promote peace building and prevent conflicts. Ladies and gentlemen, the promotion of human rights forms the central element of the value base on which Finnish and Finland's foreign and security policy rests. The action plan is based on human rights and broad concepts of peace and security. In the context of peace and security, attention is paid to diverse measures promoting the stability and well-being of societies, in addition to conflicts and official peace processes. Young people's participation in peace processes is considered to include activities at different levels that promote conflict prevention and sustainable peace. Now, furthermore, in addition to human rights perspective, conflict prevention, mediation, and peace building are long-term priorities of Finland's foreign policy. Finland emphasizes an inclusive approach to peace processes and the importance of ownership, inclusion, and agency of women and young people in them. Finnish NGOs also work extensively to promote implementation of Resolution 2250. Finland is active in the implementation of the UN Resolution 1325 on women, peace and security, both nationally and internationally as well. And our fourth national action plan on this resolution was published last August. We think that it is important to find synergies between the women, peace and security and youth, peace and security agendas. These include young women and intergenerational mentoring and dialogue. Finland has a strong legal basis and good practices for involving young people. The right to participate is enshrined in the Finnish constitution, and the right of children under the age of 18 to participate and influence is also an obligation under the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. Since the adoption of the resolution 2250 in 2015, the operating environment has changed both in Finland and globally, and this is very clear to all of us. Climate change is finally being perceived as one of the biggest global threats, partly because of pressure exerted by young influencers. But obviously, as we know, the pandemic was a crucial factor affecting young people's lives and their possibilities to influence in societies, economies in the last few years. And obviously, latest big event is the Russian aggression on Ukraine, which has naturally affected lives of young people all around the world, and obviously most in Ukraine. Finland aims to identify the opportunities and risks of new technologies in its 2250 work. Another important theme, especially for young people related to new technologies, is the role of social media. And related to that, disinformation and fight against disinformation, and I will get back to this later on. It is easy to develop the inclusiveness of decision-making and peace processes through social media, but superficial participation must be avoided. Purpose of Finland's first national 2250 action plan is to serve as a tool and roadmap for the implementation of the said resolution. The priority areas are the 5 pillars of the resolution for action: participation, prevention, partnerships, protection and disarmament, demobilization and reintegration. The cross-cutting theme is intersectionality, which is taken into account in the objectives and actions. First, under this cross-cutting theme of intersectionality, the our action plan on the resolution emphasizes the equal right to participation by all young people and aims to create opportunities for everyone to influence society. When implementing the action plan, it is important to take into account the impacts of existing structural discrimination and to address them. These intersecting differences should be examined in relation to each other. They exclude, for example, sex, social class, age, ethnic background, functional capacity, and sexual orientation. When discussing the inclusiveness of peace processes and societal decision-making, it is important, in our view, to take into account these different factors and their sums, which influence an individual's ability to participate in society. Intersectionality helps to combat multiple discrimination, improve equality for vulnerable groups, and better target measures. Young people's political participation, activeness, and opportunities for participation vary globally depending on gender. Internationally, young women's political engagement is minimal, whereas in Finland, young women are politically more active than young men. A common factor, however, is the low representation of women in executive roles, including in Finland. Gender and sexual minorities are particularly vulnerable both internationally and nationally. Ethnicity and sexual orientation can increase the feeling of insecurity and the risk of exclusion for young people. The action plan also takes into account the different manifestations of other aspects of intersectionality that affect participation. An intersectional approach will be promoted in the action plan by involving different types of young people and youth organizations and by providing them with the opportunity to also participate in the plan's monitoring and evaluation. Now, priority area 1, participation. A key objective of Finland's 2250 action plan and activities is to increase young people's participation at all levels of decision-making in order to prevent and resolve conflicts and to promote sustainable peace and security. Meaningful participation requires that all young people have the opportunity to participate not only in decision-making that concerns them, but also in the planning, implementation and monitoring of such decisions. The parties, the different stakeholders responsible for implementing the action plan must take into account the diversity and equality of young people. Finland pays particular attention to the inclusiveness and local ownership of peace processes. Internationally, Finland strives to promote the role, influence, and meaningful participation of young people at local level in conflict prevention and resolution, as well as in post-conflict situations. The positive role and perspectives of young people must also be taken into account in a holistic manner in humanitarian aid operations and more broadly across the continuum of aid work. It means that humanitarian aid, development cooperation, and peace promotion are carried out seamlessly and often simultaneously. Secondly, priority area prevention. In our action plan, we see that young people should be seen not only as victims or potential perpetrators of violence, but also as positive assets and agents in preventing discrimination and violence and in promoting equality and a culture of peace. The potential of young people in the prevention of terrorism and violent extremism has also been better recognized in recent years. For example, at the national level in Finland, in our national action plan for the prevention of violent radicalization and extremism, young people are identified as a major asset in preventing violent extremism, building peace, and reducing confrontation. In Finland, young people's security challenges include violence and bullying at school, as well as discrimination and exclusion. Insecurity is also caused, for example, by financial uncertainty, unemployment or temporary work, and dependence on parents or state support systems. Mental health issues and substance abuse are the most common causes of young people's health problems, social exclusion, and long-term inability to work in Finland. Unfortunately, suicide is one of the most common causes of death in Finland for young people aged 15 to 24, especially men. Suicide prevention is an important part of security. The safety of young people will be improved by promoting equality, strengthening the social competence, community spirit, and inclusion of young people, and increasing young people's capacity to act in situations of discrimination. The prevention of discrimination, violence, and bullying can also help prevent radicalization. Furthermore, equal, high-quality education that is based on research is seen as the best safeguard against exclusion and lack of prospects. Globally, girls and women have poorer opportunities for education than boys and men. In Finland, men are more likely to drop out than women. Education, job opportunities, and the related future perspectives are important in preventing radicalization and crime among young men, both in Finland and elsewhere in the world. And education in general, I have to say, has been the foundation for the development of Finland in the last 100 years or so. When we got our independence in 1917, so this year we are celebrating the 106th Independence Day in December. And 106 years ago, Finland was a poor agrarian country, and thanks to comprehensive, high-quality education, and through that gender equality, we are now a wealthy welfare state in the Northern Europe. Now, the role of global education and education on peace, human rights, democracy, and holistic sexual education must be strengthened in education, youth work, and education for teachers and youth workers. Media literacy and critical thinking must be promoted in teacher education, schools, youth work, and training for authorities. And here, obviously, we are talking about our common fight against disinformation. The economic empowerment of young people also requires special attention. In preventive action, attention must be paid to the digital environment. Fake news and other harmful materials are disseminated online. Social media and technological advances also offer new platforms and networks through which accurate and fact-based information can be disseminated. Priority area 3, partnerships. Finland emphasizes the importance of diverse partnerships in the implementation of the action plan. Active participation of different types of societal actors and diverse partnerships form the basis of sustainable peace and development. Cooperation and partnerships between public administrative bodies with youth organizations and NGOs working with young people must be strengthened. Investing in young people via organizations that support them is part of building and maintaining peace. Various partnerships are at the core of multilateral cooperation between Finland and the EU and other international actors as well. Priority Area 4, protection. To enable young people to play a meaningful role in building and maintaining sustainable peace, it is necessary to ensure that they have a safe environment in which to live and take action. Safe spaces must be created for young people to gather, express themselves, and take part in decision making. International humanitarian law forms the foundation for the protection of civilians. Young civilians should be protected from violence in fragile and conflict-affected countries. In particular, young people should be protected from sexual and gender-based violence, which is used as a weapon of war. Young people should be protected not only in fragile and conflict-affected countries, but also in my home country, in Finland, which is not in conflict. Finland emphasizes the importance of recognizing the special needs and need for protection of young refugees and displaced people in their countries of origin, in refugee camps, in transit, and in countries where they apply for asylum. The long period of peace in Finland often overshadows the fact that young peace builders and human rights defenders also experience harassment and receive threats, especially on social media. Hate speech is not only harmful to the target, but also a way to erode the foundation of democratic society and the rule of law. Young women and minoritized people in particular are often subjected to online harassment and hate speech. The prevention of hate speech must be enhanced through education and training on fundamental and human rights by increasing interaction skills and media literacy and by promoting equality. And then priority area 5, disarmament, demobilization and reintegration. Lasting peace also requires post-conflict measures. Ensuring young people's access to education and work opportunities is an essential part of disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration. In fragile countries, Finland focuses on the employment of women and young people, supporting the livelihoods of returning refugees and former soldiers, and their reintegration into their communities. In addition, attention is paid to entrepreneurship and supporting states in their efforts to benefit from trade and investment, including through development cooperation that supports trade. Opportunities must be improved for young people to reintegrate into society, to find employment, become entrepreneurs, and participate in the economy. Now, dear friends, a few words in conclusion on implementation and monitoring of the plan. As we know, and as it's said many times, what gets measured gets done, and that is very true. In Finland, the ministries, research institutes, and civil and youth organizations mentioned in the action plan participate in the plan's implementation and monitoring. The 2250 network of NGOs plays an important role in the plan's monitoring and evaluation, as the participation of young people in this activity is also integral. In addition to its own activities and areas of responsibility, the Ministry for Foreign Affairs of Finland, my own ministry, coordinates this national action plan's implementation. Now, dear friends, in conclusion, I would say two important words that run through the action plan that I just presented in a snapshot. That's inclusion of young people in all stages of planning and implementation and monitoring actions towards increased participation and education. As I said, the development of my society and economy has been based largely on high quality education guaranteed for every single child and youth. So inclusion and education. So I thank you for your attention, and I hope that this snapshot was useful in some way and gave some food for thought for all of you. Maraming salamat po.